Anything, and we're super happy to have you here. Last week or a couple weeks ago, we were at the New England Narrators Retreat. Nooner, not, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, good thing I don't narrate for a living, but I do talk for a living. Anyway, we have today's going to be a great show. We're excited about this. And Johnny, you want to kick us off here and give us an intro so that it makes some sort of sense rather than me talking about it?
Well, yeah, as I don't know, some of you guys may recall. Here, this is my friend Brigid Reale. So she's lovely, she's wonderful. We're talking about when we met. I will. Bridget and I met back at MAVO, the Mid-Atlantic Voiceover Conference, which the lovely Val Kelly hosts every year. I think it's in about a week or two, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming up on the 6th of November. There's still tickets available. So
yeah,
if you're looking for a good,
if you want to, it's MAVO. You can find it. It's I know my friend Tom Deere will be there. There's a lot of wonderful people. It's like, if you've ever been to VO Atlanta, this is a pared down version of that. And it's a great weekend. Does that sound reasonable? That's fair.
Yeah, I would say it's like a really nice boutique-y event. And I feel like it's, if you're not a person who can deal with massive amounts of crowds, this is the place to go. If your social battery drains easily, go to MAVO instead.
Yeah, and there's tickets available, as we said. So, and we like Val a lot. So it's good people. So there you have it. So that's coming up. And that's where Bridget and I met some years ago.
I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019, but
yeah, one of the years. And then
we met at the bar.
Yeah, and then we went to and then we've seen her. Then when Don and I talked to you guys, and a few people have taken advantage of this, we said we'd be welcome to having people as guests. And I don't remember if Bridget reached out to me or I reached out to her, but this is purely through we reconnected because we're Facebook friends.
Yes,
she's a wonderful guest and so much to talk about. We're going to go through all their interesting stuff. But a message to you guys: if you guys want to be a guest with Don and I on some Tuesday afternoon, you can be a newbie. You're still interesting. You don't have to have 30,000 books and 18 million awards. We'd love to talk to you. It's always fascinating to talk to people from different places in the business, where they are, where they're headed, how they got to where they're going, what their plans are, that sort of thing. Also, people who bring different things. Bridget has something we're going to talk about today about, I don't know the whole deal about people, busy voiceover people who need assistance, but don't know they need assistance.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. That
highly overwhelmed people who are stressed out all the time and need someone to take stuff off their plate. That's what we do. Well, that's one of the things. And in addition to being a voice actor and that being my main job, but yeah.
Like before we talk about that whole gig, though, let's talk about your background a little bit, how you got into what you're doing and what you are doing, and I want to save some of the plans for the assistance idea because, just frankly, I know from fact people tend to join in as time goes by in this thing.
Totally,
I want to make sure I have the biggest live audience we can to hear your thing. So tell us first how do you define what you're doing now, career-wise?
Ooh, hanging on by, the skin of my teeth on a daily basis. So, doing my best, struggling my most. No, I've been doing this for 11 years now. And the vast majority of my work, I was telling Don this earlier, I have only done one audiobook in my entire life. It was a psychology textbook. It traumatized me. God bless you, marathon runners of VO. Like, that's how I look at you guys. I call you guys the marathon runners of VO. And we need people like you because I do listen to audiobooks all the time. Every night I'm listening to audiobooks. This is how I wind down and go to sleep. So I love you guys, but it is a special, special thing you do. And nothing will traumatize a voice actor better than having to read out loud a psychology textbook. So, but the vast majority,
I'm okay, you're not kind of books.
Oh, it was like a university textbook that was very dry. And it was in my first year of doing VO. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, ultimately, is what it boils down to. But yeah, it was not an I'm okay, you're okay. I think I could have handled that. Like a self-help book, I could have handled that.
Yeah.
No, this was, chapter 6, and this will be on the exam at the end of the semester kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're really selling this title.
The crazy thing is the bit that I did do of it is on Audible. So if you go looking for it, you can find it. I looked on Amazon, and sure enough, my chapters are on it on Amazon.
You did some of it, not all of it.
I like broke down about 3/4 of the way through the book. Also, I got it off of a pay to play. I said so early on. We want to talk about all the mistakes that one makes as a voice actor and as an audiobook narrator. I went on a pay to play, did it for basically nothing 11 years ago, and got them. I talked them up a little bit more on the rate, and then I just kind of broke down about 3/4 of the way through the book and was like, "There's no way I can finish this."
So what are you doing? What kind of voiceover stuff do you do now? What's your
I actually do long form narration, but I do e-learning, medical narration, fintech kind of stuff, technology based e-learning, that sort of thing. I do a lot of explainer videos. I do a lot of commercial work, promo, you name it, that kind of stuff. Sort of the nuts and bolts of VO kind of things that I think a lot of people do. Little bit of character work, not a ton, but yeah, the vast majority of my work is commercial and non-broadcast explainers and e-learning. So, yeah. And I actually do love it. I was telling Don earlier, I did some narrating of Scientific American articles for a company called the Great Courses Plus, and we won an Emmy a few years ago.
Oh, so, Great Courses. That was wasn't that Recorded Books put that out, I think?
They were. So the Great Courses Plus is an online learning platform where you can go and, take courses and things like that. So
from the real professors and things are.
Yeah, exactly. So they had a whole series called Mind Blowing Science, and it was taking Scientific American magazine articles and putting them to video. And so I was a narrator for it, and we won an Emmy a couple years ago.
Nice. Yeah, Emmy Award. I should have said we should have introduced you as the Emmy Award winning. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but Don and I have gotten a number of participation ribbons, so we're
nice.
Yeah. Perfect attendance, that kind of thing. We're doing well.
There you go. You mentioned earlier you don't have to have 30,000 books under your belt. How many books do you have under your belt?
Me?
Yeah.
To be honest, I stopped counting.
Yeah.
I've done over 1,000. I figured, after that, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what does happen is if the people don't believe your expertise or your background after 1,000 books, they're not going to believe you at 1,200.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
But I did 1,003.
Yeah,
right. You're like, but really 998. Come on.
Well, and also, the thing is, I never, when I first started doing this, I didn't think it was my raison d'être. I didn't think it was my thing. I thought it was another gig out at like Bar or doing a commercial. I'm waiting for my big break,
Right.
I just thought it was another side gig. But then the side gig became the gig, and now it's just well, I did put together an e-learning demo with J. Michael.
Nice.
It's a great. We did it earlier this year. I haven't had a chance even to begin to market it. I just don't have time. And I know there's more money, everything I do. I just don't have the time. So hopefully one of my New Year's resolutions would be to actually do something with that.
Oh, you'd kill it.
It's sitting on my website gathering, but it's very funny. It's really good. J. Michael Collins is great.
Yeah, I've been on his team for a while, the JMC Demos team for a number of years as well. I used to be his assistant way back in the day. And then I got busy, and he has a new assistant who is now becoming too busy for him. So, but yeah. So I love being on the
way
team.
to get work, become J. Michael Collins' assistant.
I mean, it doesn't hurt, but yeah, it was my first foray into the world of outsourcing, because he needed to outsource stuff to someone, and it gave me a real insider into that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, no, J. Michael's amazing, and the demos are awesome. I have several myself.
So we're far enough, and there's a bunch of. We'll keep talking about this. I have a question also. Reale.
So okay. So I tell people it's Brigid Reale.
Really?
Because it's even though it's Reale. You can say Reale or Reale. Reale is fine. When I lived in Italy, we would, obviously I went by Reale. But yeah, no, it is an Italian name, so Reale works. I just say real because the name of the business is Real Voices.
Oh,
A
that
little
okay.
play on
I
words.
see. And Reale
So
Voices isn't actually. So what's
well,
Reale?
Reale Voices would be Italian like Royal Voices, which also works.
Reale means royal?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is
So
cool.
yeah. So it worked out really well when I lived there. So
When I meet people, I always think when I think what their name is something that I like, I have a difficult time calling them what it actually is. Like I like Real, so it's gonna be tough for me to make
and I always tell people, I'm like, it can be real, it can be Reale, it can't be real. But I mean, the way you say it is like you actually say a lot. I get a lot of people like Real. I'm like, oh,
yeah, yeah. We don't want that.
so
We don't want that.
no. So, but go ahead.
So how did you start in the performance in the voiceover industry? Where'd you come from to do that? And we'll seamlessly put this in a segue into your assistant thing.
All good, all good. So, I was a teacher for a number of years. I actually made a degree in linguistics, became a Montessori teacher. So I was certified 6 weeks up to 6 years, or to sixth grade. And I did that for a number of years. Although, funny enough, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a voice actor. I wanted to be the voice of a cartoon.
Ah,
But life being what it is and me going, "Oh, I have to be in New York or LA," and I wasn't in New York or LA. Well, then, got a real job and ended up becoming a teacher for a number of years, got burnt out, as one will in the classroom and being an admin. And in that, I ended up working at School of Rock in Maryland.
You'll be working in a situation and something will go wrong. And then really some people who haven't had things go wrong, they panic as a performer early on.
oh
And
no,
then
yeah, you got to play it. You got to play.
the
I remember I did a show once where at the climactic moment, somebody shoots a gun at somebody right there, and the gun didn't go off. It didn't make nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a gunshot. So the person goes, said bang, and it's a serious play. And the guy gets shot. Goes ah.
It's funny. I went
I'm on stage like Harvey Korman on the Carol Burnett show, laughing my ass off.
I was in London last week, and I actually saw the show, The Goes Wrong play.
Oh yeah, the play What Goes Wrong. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. The play that goes wrong. It used to be the Goes Wrong show when it was a TV show, but it was the play that goes wrong.
They do. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It was absolutely great. And there's so many moments like that. I mean, the entire show is based on everything that can go wrong. And
yeah. And it also
brilliant.
it's also why as a performer,
Yeah, Joanna,
have
Simon
backup systems
Simon
for
Vance and I
everything.
saw that in
Go ahead, Johnny.
it's just getting weird looking. My movements are all sketchy.
Yeah, that's
You see that?
That's an internet connection.
All
thing.
strobing?
Yep.
There it is. Anyway, so I saw that with Joanna and Simon Vance about 3-4 years ago. It had to be before COVID, so before that maybe.
Yeah.
And it was the first on Broadway. And the first act we started laughing, and the second act was more of the same. We both said, well, nothing's changing. It's just, nothing changed. So after a while, it became a bit tiresome. It's like watching one too many episodes of The Three Stooges.
It was great. My dad and I both said it was great as a television show. It's a little bit long as a
Broadway show.
As a Broadway show. Yeah. So
your dad and you are absolutely right. So when we last left off, before Don messed everything up with his technical blundering.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was just saying, I worked for School of Rock, and a friend of mine told me that she was starting to do voiceover work online. And one of my boss at School of Rock gave me a crash course on audio engineering and lent me my first microphone and interface and everything, and helped me set up a studio. And I blundered at it for a good year by myself. And then we moved to Rome, and in that time I had a couple of jobs here or there. And at that point I was like, how do I get more jobs? And I was thinking of opening up a Fiverr account. And at the time I was not Facebook friends. I was LinkedIn connections with Christina Malizia. And she posted an article she reposted an article from Stephen J. Cohen. That was, I'm no longer afraid of the Fiverr community. And it was all, he wrote this article, forever ago. And it was about how he met with an ad exec friend of his in New York who said that they used Fiverr talent for the scratch track and then blacklisted them. So I went into a panic as I'm sitting here quickly putting together my, Fiverr account and everything, trying to, look for more opportunities. And I reached out to Christina Malizia and I said, "Hi, you don't know me, but here's the situation." And she was like, "Before you do that, have you had coaching? Have you had any?" And I hadn't. And she's like, "Have you had any guidance?" And I was like, "No." And she brought me into the fold of VO and introduced me to GBAA, introduced me to, the community and got me the training that I needed. And, here we are 11 years later. And
Oh, that's great. Yeah, they're that's once again a nice story about the community in which we deal here. This is so much different than so much different than so many other communities of like-minded
absolutely,
professionals and colleagues. The
100%.
mentoring, the help, the willingness to share and to be there for each other.
Yep.
It's just there's nothing quite like it, and it's one of the reasons I'm enamored of this community and enamored of most of the people in it. There's some, in every group there's some bad folks. There's
Sure.
nothing to do about that. Just deal with it.
Yep.
And it was
100%.
also like technology. If you deal with enough folks, occasionally somebody won't like you, rightly or wrongly so. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I say something dumb too many times. Yeah, yeah, I know. Shock. Now you say something off also the guys.
You sound a little quieter than you did when we started this thing, by the way.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that's my
could
setup
be,
or
could
everybody.
be.
I think
Just
you sound the
barely.
same to me, but
Yeah, it could be my setup because well, Don's a tech wizard. I'm simply not. I'm a tech
well,
Luddite. As a matter of fact, I got sent. You know that microphone and the ball with Konica?
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The
Yeah, the eyeball.
Yeah. So they sent me a brand new setup for it. They want me to check it out and share it with people, which
Mhm.
I'll do. But I can't even figure out what to do with it. I think I don't know what to do. So I have to set up a session with Don to figure out how to use it if I'm going to use it, so I can tell people about it or not.
There you
But
go.
they sent it to me. I'm like, and I said I may not be the best person to do this. I don't even know how to plug the damn thing in. So I don't know where it
I mean,
goes.
I think it just fits over your microphone.
But this already set up.
I
I
think
don't
Yeah.
like
there's just
when
like a
things
hole. I
done. I
think
don't
there's
like
a
when
little hole at the
Well,
top of it, and
well,
you just literally slide it on
over
top
this
of.
like this.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, all right.
yep.
Well, there
Slide
you
it on
go.
like a sock.
Yep. So why?
That's
So
that's
you
the nice, neat way of putting it.
can
That's
you tell?
perfect. You have kids?
I do. I have 2 kids. I have one who's 27 and he is in Atlanta and living his best life. And then I have a daughter who started off in VO and she has grown up overseas with us moving around all over the place. And she went off to university in London and just graduated last week. I just got back last week
Oh,
from so
congratulations.
thank you. She got her degree in brand design and advertising. So now she just has to get a job.
Yeah.
But
So
she works with you
People think,
sometimes, right?
what's that?
sometimes she started off in VO when she was about 11 or 12. Really annoyingly, booked a job with Disney off of her very first audition.
Oh my.
Oh,
Yeah,
classic story.
look, proud
Classic.
mom, irritated actor.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't that how everybody does it?
you know,
Yeah.
just reminding yourself, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
I want the best for you, but not if it costs me a job.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, so she did it for a number of years and then, became a teenager and was like, I don't have time for this. I need my social life. And now I'm telling her, I'm like, well, you're a graduate. And if as you're trying to get a job, you can do VO. You have a studio set up. I've bought you all the equipment. You can just set it all up. And she's like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I know I could do it.
Oh.
Carve your own path, kiddo. Carve your own path.
Well, I find it interesting. A lot of actors now, and a lot of non-actors mostly, head right to VO as their planned a job is what they want to do. They want to do VO, whether it's e-learning, audiobooks, whatever. They want to do it, and
Yeah.
sadly for me anyway, most of them don't have any acting background or training at all, nor do they realize how important that is. And it's a discussion in the industry all the time, because you don't have to be a graduate of the Yale School of Drama to do a good job as an actor in an audiobook or a commercial or anything else. But I think to be that performer, you need to understand that it is acting.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think
100%.
a lot of people just say, so many people say I've got a nice voice. I don't care. I mean, it's nicer than a crappy voice, but other than that, if either you can tell the story and act, or you can't. And we can do things to help you, but first let's
Every
admit that.
script is a story.
Yeah,
Every script has a perspective. Every script has some sort of a journey that you're taking with it, you know?
really, exactly so. Yeah.
And if
You
you're
I
know?
love when
doing
people say what I want to hear and validate my opinions. Good job, you.
and
You're welcome.
and if you're working
Thank you. I'm sending
e-learning,
you the address for the check.
yeah,
Okay.
and if you're working e-learning, you have to make that if you bore them to death, then what's the point of putting out an e-learning thing, no matter what the script is? And sometimes, obviously, the script can be pretty bad, especially a lot of those corporate things where the writers don't realize how bad it is. But those are different than doing an audiobook, in that you actually have the ability to take that script and make minor changes to it, where it says don't, you could say do not, or the opposite, and nobody really cares because they're trying to get across the point, not tell the author's truth, which is a whole different perspective. Yours is uh, getting people educated in a certain subject. And I just think that you have a lot more creative input into a script that's for e-learning than somebody who was doing an audiobook with a publisher where they want it nearly word for word. It's a different gig. So
Interesting. Interesting that you say that, because I feel like you guys have so many creative options in audiobooks. I always tell students whom I'm coaching in explainer and e-learning work, I always say, look, nobody actually wants to take this course. They are usually forced to, because it's some sort of continuing education.
right.
I mean, there are the pleasure courses and things like that, the enrichment courses and things like that. But the lump sum, the lump share of e-learning work is continuing education and, check the boxes off at the office kind of stuff.
Right.
And those people want to get through it. And so your job is to be like, okay, look, I know your boss said you got to take this. We're going to get through this together. It's going to be fine. It's going to be good. And you're still telling a story. You're still getting them through it in a way that is not boring them to tears and making them, just want to jump off a bridge, So there is definitely something to the e-learning side of voiceover, where you do still have a job to tell the story and to be the actor in that. There's still a lot of perspective and a lot of opinion in that.
People don't get that. They
They
really
do.
just don't get that. So, you know, it's amazing how many people approach this business as if doing e-learning is not an art. The good ones do it at a totally different level, and I assume you got super busy. How did you when you started transitioning? Like, did you hire a virtual assistant or an assistant? I guess because you were one at some point, you start
Yes.
thinking, I need to have someone help me manage emails, social media. How did that work out?
So the very first thing that I ended up outsourcing was my audio editing. That was my first foray into outsourcing. I needed somebody. I was starting to do a lot more e-learning, and I think e-learning, I wouldn't say I fell into it, but I think it became a natural transition from being a teacher. All my years of teaching, I think that
Yeah.
definitely helped. Um, and then I was also, curriculum coordinator as well. But when you start getting into these big modules, it gets to be hefty, man. Like, and if you want to be fast and be able to get the stuff back to your client quickly so that they're going to hire you again, it's like, outsource that. Get that off your plate. Hand that to someone. So the first thing I did was outsourced to an audio editor, and that was great. Although I learned very quickly
Hmm.
in that not everybody edits the exact same way. I thought that the way I edit And the way I have my studio and my, all set up was going to be identical. Like it was, we all set it up the same way and it's all the same thing and everybody does the same thing the same way. And I learned very quickly that that's not the case because I remember sending to my very first audio editor my files and he sent them back to me and it sounded nothing like what I had been doing myself. And it took
In
several
what way?
iterations. He was using different stacks. He was doing things in a different order. And I found that it was throwing me off because when he would send things back to me, because the audio sounded differently, I had to, um, if there were pickups to be done, I had to send him new raw audio files and be like, here, take it from here, and then he would have to, like, piece it in there. What we ended up learning was that it was much easier for me to do my initial stack, and this is where actually, put a pin in that. Um, take it is ADD, man. It's so real. Adult ADD is so real. But I, I would put my stack on it and, which was just a simple one-button stack that Uncle Roy set me up with and, do that and then send it to him. It was still raw. There was still breaths in it. There was, I tried to have it as mistake-free as possible, and his job was to go through and, file split and take out the breaths and all of that kind of stuff and QC it. And then any pickups, he would just say, "Hey, this file needs a pickup, that file needs a pickup," and I would, go through and I would do it myself, and it was faster. I said my first foray into outsourcing, I think hiring someone on a regular basis, my first foray into outsourcing was, audio editing. My very first foray into outsourcing was getting someone to go through my studio setup and make sure that I had having my Uncle Roy, you know, session, having him look at everything and critique it and give me the tweaks on it. Like, that's a one-off outsourcing project, where you have somebody go through and say like, "Hey, this sounds good, that sounds bad, let's fix this." That
Let me ask say one thing. Don, can you tell us, for those who don't know, which may just be me, what's a stack?
So
Oh,
Stack, all the different programs you use to record allow you to optionally do some processing, usually some EQ, some limiting, and some compression, but some details that make the voice sound a little different. And in an ideal world, make you sound natural and sound even better than you are.
Do I have
maybe
that?
clean up your noise floor a little bit or something like that.
Technically, you don't because you'll send totally raw to the publishers, and they are going to apply a stack to your voice. But it'd
Oh,
be
they
the
do?
same as if you're going to drive a car. You get in and you put your seatbelt on, you press the button to start the car, and then you look at your mirrors and make sure everything's right before you back up. It's just a series of steps that are taken to process the audio, and if you have the right stack set up, the correct rack, you could
When
have
you
fully
lean forward,
produced
you sound
audio.
louder. That's what
Pardon?
you're too far away.
So I am okay, my
There,
meters are
now it's
showing me
better.
really loud.
Yeah,
So,
that's
okay,
what's
somebody else is
happening.
telling me nope, okay. Well,
But
go
it's the
ahead and,
same level
yep,
until you lean toward your mic.
I'll have to figure it out. Go ahead and, you
Okay,
guys
anyway, so
start.
I really when you say stacks, Bridge, I didn't even know that's how uninformed I am, but,
I love
when
that.
this whole setup happened, um, I put it together with my friend Zane Birdwell and
Mhm.
others, helped me put it all together, and then, Don I switched from Pro Tools. Do you use Pro Tools?
I use Adobe Audition.
So I use, Studio One because Don
Oh,
set
yeah.
it all up, and I know that Joanna has something that he gave her that does something, but my stuff is just raw audio, and I
Yeah,
send it to whoever because I don't do any I mean, I do punch record. So I
right,
fix mistakes that I make as I go, but then it all goes away, and then I don't they just say, "You screwed up the sentence, I fix it," and that's
right,
it. That's as
right.
technical as I get. So if I was outsourcing, I do outsource. I mean, the things I do, like I'm doing, some, public domain stuff and some of my own stuff, and I definitely send it out to have someone I've got a book out right now with
Mhm.
Jennifer Blom and Lisa Ware to go over for me. I don't I don't even know how to do that stuff. And when people
Yeah.
do their own editing in audiobooks, you say it's a marathon. When people do their own editing and mastering and all that other stuff, instead of a 2-to-1 industry average ratio, it's like 6 or 7-to-1,
Oh my gosh, it's yeah.
and you
It's a
can't
bare minimum, it's 4 to 1.
yeah, and
Like,
you
e-learning
can't
is
QC
3 to
yourself.
4 to 1.
You can't proofread yourself because you said it wrong the first time because you didn't know how to say it.
Yep. When I do e-learning, I will do, I record a slide and then I always go back and I listen to it and I'm reading like whatever it is, right? And then I every so often I'll catch a mistake that I make, but for the vast majority of it, I'm like, all right, well, no, that sounds good. And my audio editor now, she'll catch me doing like one word off, like, oh, you forgot to say the, or you added an and, or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's so minor, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, but I wouldn't, even if I'm listening back to, I'm not hearing that, which is why I always say, if you're doing any form of long form narration, pardon, I'm just getting over a cold here. If you're doing any form of long form narration, get an audio editor to, to QC it, to deep breath it, to file split it as needed, because what my person ended up doing, or my current person, she's amazing. What she does is I send her 10 to 20 slides, about 20 minutes worth of audio.
Yeah.
And then I go on to the next, 10 to 20 slides. And by the time I'm done with recording the next 10 to 20 slides, she's already sent me back my files all done.
So I love this.
Lickety split.
This is what Scott Brick and I in our business of audio workshops we've done over the last, gosh, I don't know, 9-10 years. One of the things that we say again and again, and it proof's in the pudding, outsource all the stuff you can so you can concentrate on the performance, because that's where you make the money.
Yeah.
Whatever I make my hourly rate, whatever I'm getting paid for the gig, I'm not getting paid to edit the gig.
No,
It's
exactly.
So is this a company you've established that does this, that helps us? And let's talk
It
about it now.
is.
We're
Yeah.
here.
So, and it's funny you mentioned Scott Brick, because Scott and I were talking at the Euro retreat in Switzerland, and this was when we were getting ready to launch VA for VO. So the company's called VA for VO.
VA for VO.
So while VA, typically most people think of VA meaning virtual assistant, we actually mean it to be voiceover adjacent. So it's anything that does not require you to be on the mic. It's all the stuff that doesn't have to be done by you. It's stuff that, can be done by you that you should probably know how to do. God forbid your team behind you disappear or fall off a cliff. You want to know how to do things. But if there are all the things that you don't have to be able to do yourself, that you can give to somebody else so that you can be in what Dervla Trainer calls your zone of genius, being on the mic, doing the work, right? So Scott, when we were launching this, I was telling him about, that we're creating this business, VA for VO. This was back in 2022. And he was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. The audiobook community needs audiobook prep people. If you guys had people who could do the audiobook prep. And I was like, what is that? I had no idea what that was.
I use
And
preppers.
yeah, and essentially for anybody who, unlike me, again, non-audiobook person, for the lay person, an audiobook prepper is basically the person who makes the Cliff Notes version for the audiobook narrator. They make the skeleton, give you the character breakdowns, go through it chapter by chapter, give you the important, juicy details and nuts and bolts, so that when the wonderful Johnnies of our world get up to the mic, they're not lost in having to figure out what's going on with the story. They have a general idea of what's going on with the story. So when they're reading, it's smooth sailing and you're moving faster.
That's basically it. The prepper, I use them when I've foolishly or accidentally overbooked, and I don't have time to get as deep into my prep that I like. So you have to give them, a month or two in advance. They have to read the book, but they do. They break it all down. Chapter 1, the introduction of these characters, and if there's anything about the character that the actor needs to know, the author says speaks with this kind of voice, or from, limerick or whatever the hell it is. So you know what you need to do. So you've got this. It is exactly what I said. It's a Cliff Notes. It's like, remember those classic comic books when they had like the Mark Twain comic? You have to read the book.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah,
that was early 1800s. So yeah, we were kids. So
kids.
So that stuff is kind of what the audiobook prepper does.
Yep.
So are you VA for VO is the company, right?
Yeah.
Is it VA for VO.com?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you happen to get it screwed up and say VO4VA.com, it'll still take you to the same place.
Oh, that's brilliant. So
I bought all the URLs to make sure you couldn't screw it up.
so when we go there as an audiobook person, tell us what different things happen for different genres in the voiceover world, so we have an idea.
Okay, so it's a really interesting concept because as a person who was a VA for J. Michael, right? And as someone who has hired VAs for my own business, because I really started to hire a regular VA in 2020, funny enough, during COVID. Uh, my very first like long-term VA was a college kid. He was my son's friend from high school. And he needed a job and he was a law student at the time. And so I said, rather than getting a job at a restaurant, which they were all shut down during COVID, I said, let you be my virtual assistant. And he said, great. He goes, I know nothing about the VO world. And I went, don't worry, I'll teach you. So I taught him everything about the VO world. And he would, thankfully, being a law student, very quick learn. He was amazing. He was my yin to my yang, the yin to my yang, just as Don is to you. He kept me organized, did lead generation, did a little bit of everything. He actually set up my CRM for me, did email marketing for me, did some social media work for me, did some research when I needed research done. And then about a year into it, he said, hey, I've got my last semester of school and I need to focus. I can't do work for you anymore. And I went, oh, no, don't leave me. So I brought someone on who was actually a voice actor. She heard me on a podcast and heard me talking about outsourcing. And she said, hey, I would love to become a VA. Do you happen to know anyone? And I went, funny you should mention that. My VA just left me. So, but the nice thing was with her was that she didn't need to be trained about VO because she already understood it. She was already in it. So this kind of went on for a little bit, and I had more people knowing that I had been J. Michael's assistant and that I had assistants and things like that. And I had people coming to me going, hey, I need an assistant. Where can I find one? And I was quite literally one of those see a need, fill a need. So Lynn Norris, Miranda Ellis, and I created this business together. And there's two memberships. So there's the VA side, which is if you are a voice actor who wants to make a supplemental income, you've got skills from some other part of your life, right? And you want to be someone's VA, you can join our membership there. We have a suite of 7 courses that are all business related courses that help to enhance your abilities and your skills as a VA. So we have like a Canva course, a Trello course, a social media course, a lead generation course, a CRM course, an audio editing course, and then a how to be a VA course as well. So we have those courses so you can learn all these skills if you're not entirely up to speed with them. And then you can apply them to your own VO business, which is great. But you can then, as you're applying them to your own VO business and learning them, you can then offer those services to VOs, voice actors who need to outsource things, who need to get things off their plate. The other membership that we have on there is the VO membership. So if you are a voice actor who is completely overwhelmed and is like, I need an audiobook editor, I need an audiobook prep person, I need someone to do lead generation, I need someone who can reach out to those publishers for me and, try and get connections and things like that. You can come to us, tell us all of your needs, and you fill out a form, and then we will connect you with someone who can help you. And we give you you get 2 rounds of 3 connections. You also, by the way, get your own suite of courses. So how to be how to work with a VA, because a lot of people don't know how to do that. The audiobook course, the CRM course, you get like 4 or 5 courses and all of them are escaping my mind right now. Oh, the project management, the Trello course. And we also have now a discovery call book because most people don't know how to conduct an interview. Most people have never hired someone and don't know how to conduct an interview. So we have those courses. And then we connect you with people who can help you with your outsourcing needs. And then on top of all of that, we have 2 private Facebook groups, one for the VAs and one for the VOs. So when you have questions and are like, "Hey, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to deal with this," then you come to us and we help you out. We too have monthly Ask Us Anythings.
So here's me, an audiobook guy.
Yeah.
I also do, you do all the stuff. So
Yeah.
I come in and I look at the thing and is it a sample sign up, or I say make the decision I'm signing up?
Right. You would make your decision that you're signing up. You go to our website, you'll see, there's 2 basic things. There's, I'm overwhelmed and I need help. And there is, I want to supplement my income. And you pick the one that makes sense to you, right? So if you're looking to be a VA, you go to that membership. If you're looking to be a VO, you go to that membership. It tells you all the details about it. Once you sign up, you will fill out a form, whether you are a VA. If you're a VA, it's a very lengthy form with all of the skills and all of the possible softwares and things like that you have worked with, apps and software that you've worked with, all the skills that you want to offer, all the services. And then that goes into our database. And when people come to us, we will look at your profile in our database and try to match you up with someone. When you're a VO, if you are like, I'm overwhelmed and I need help, then you click that button. That will take you to a form. You fill out all the things that you're looking for in a person. And it could be, we have people who do, like I said, audiobook prep, audiobook, audio editing, QC, lead generation, CRM management, social media, video production, invoicing, lessons for coaches, you kind of name it, anything that you can think of that a voice actor in any stage of their business. I mean, we've got people who are coaches, like who come to us and are like, I need somebody like full time. Our very first person that we connected was Kay Bess. And she needed someone who could help her with her coaching business and with just, her general marketing. So you fill that form out, that goes into our database, and then it's quite literally hand matching. So Lynn, Miranda, and I have the 2 databases up, and we're looking at your VO profile, looking at our VA database, and we're going, okay, who would match? Who would work best?
And as I hear this, I think to myself, I could use help scheduling probably. From a coach. I don't know if I need, the audiobook thing is kind of, whether it's good or bad, it just works the way it does. There's no,
sure.
The method over the years has just happened.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's teachable or repeatable. It just works for Johnny. And that's just the way it worked.
Yep.
But the coaching thing, that might be helpful, to find someone to help me to deal with the students, to kind of vet them, if you will.
Yep.
And to schedule them. That might not be a bad idea at all. I'd be
the
interested.
back end office stuff.
Huh?
It's the back end office stuff.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Yeah, I like.
Yeah.
So how much? So if I did that, and you don't have to be exact, but what percentage of how does that work? Do I pay you a monthly fee or a yearly?
No. So each one, so the VA membership is $297 when you first sign up, and then there's a $50 annual fee, and that's basically to keep the lights on and to keep things current in our back end. But it's a $297, and again, that comes with your 7 courses, and then $50 a year after that. The VO membership is $127 the one time, and then you get all those courses, and that will get you your 2 rounds of 3 connections. And then if you were to come back to us, right, and you were to say, hey, Brigid, I actually do need somebody to do video production work for me, and none of these people that you gave me before will work for that. They don't fit that profile. Well, then it's a $50 like new job fee.
Right.
So it's just, and again, that is literally because we are hand matching everybody to you. So that's just an administrative thing. So
very reasonable, Brigid.
Yeah. We try to make it really reasonable so that, people are getting the most value for it. And again, you get 4 or 5 courses on the VO side, 7 courses on the VA side, and lots of support. And we try to make it functional, and people have all kinds of needs in their business.
Yeah. Is it you and Lynn teaching the courses mostly on the is it like video courses?
It's mostly, it's all Loom courses. We created video courses, so they are.
Are you saying Loom? LOOM?
LOOM. Yeah. So it's another video recording software. You can do like screen sharing and similar to like Zoom.
Ah, cleverly changed that letter.
So
Yeah. It's
I
almost a whole
know.
new thing.
I know. So I have to just change one letter. It's all brand new. But yeah, no, we created that. Miranda teaches some of the courses as well, but it's mostly me and Lynn who are teaching the courses. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've connected, goodness, over 150 voice actors to people in our 2 years of being around.
That's
So
great.
And then
yeah, and it's
they pay those assistants every month, obviously, or for depending on what sort of things they're doing. So
yes,
if I have them do
thank you for bringing
three
that up.
things, it would be very inexpensive if it's a one time. But then if I'm having them do something that takes 10 hours a week or whatever,
And that's the thing, you can hire somebody to be ongoing, or you can hire somebody on a project to project basis, because a lot of people think that when you're doing outsourcing that it has to be like you're hiring an assistant forever and ever, amen, and they're, going on your payroll. But there's a lot of one-off project to project things. What we do is when we send you those connections, you set up the discovery calls with them, and then it becomes a B2B process. So we stay out of the rates. Like we're not telling you how much to pay these people. We're not telling, VAs how much they should charge. We let that all be an organic conversation between the two of you based on needs and budget and, scope of services. So
we see
I
the
have a
yeah.
man there,
question,
John.
ma'am.
Yes,
What if
sir.
how why do you, what if someone doesn't know? Let's say I wanna hire a VA for my VO to help me, with my coaching. I want potential students, to reach out to them, get vetted by them, and I want that person also to schedule. Here's a chunk of time I can do things. You schedule the people, and I'll follow
Fair-
up.
Yep, fair
I wouldn't
question.
even know how much to pay somebody.
So we always think of it very similar to a voiceover job. You understand like what the scope is of the I'm going to just really quickly. No, we don't take a cut of the rate. We don't make a commission. So sorry, I was looking at the chat here. We don't make any commission on this.
The one before that done.
So yes,
Tim?
we are not and let me just say this for legal purposes and disclaimer purposes. We are not an employment agency. We would have to have a very special license in order to do that. We are a matchmaking service and an educational service for voice actors and voiceover adjacent providers who have services and need to be connected. But think of it very similarly to if somebody comes through your website and says, "Hey, I got a job for you. How much is it going to cost me?" And you always go, "Okay, well, tell me the details of the job. What kind of hours are we looking at? What are the detail?" And now I'm going into voiceover adjacent side of things. Like how many hours a week? Are we talking about a one-off sort of thing? What is the scope of the services that you're going to need? Different jobs are going to have different sort of rates. The more services that somebody's providing you, you're probably going to be paying them a bit higher of a fee because
Sure.
you're going to be requiring them to do a lot more. Also, say for example, the people who do like lead generation and things like that for us and CRM management, they have to have a knowledge of certain software and CRMs and things like that to be able to set all that sort of stuff up. So some of it is you're paying to hand that knowledge off to somebody else who knows it
Yeah.
better than you and is a bit more efficient with it. I tell people all the time, we are legally not allowed to discuss rates because we're not an agency, and that would be considered price fixing.
Ah, interesting.
That being said, I tell people the difference between like Upwork and Indeed and some of these other sorts of services where you can find people like this is that a lot of times when people hire like lead generators from, like Upwork or Indeed, they're usually coming from an economy where the dollar is much stronger. So you're paying less because that dollar goes a lot further in their particular economy. Asia, like I know a few people who have hired people from various countries in Asia, right? And lower economy, they're making more money by, paying, I don't know, 8, $10 an hour or something like that. If you're going to be hiring somebody through VA for VO, I always say they're all within the voiceover community. You're not having to pay them to teach them about voiceover industry knowledge. They already get it. They already understand it because they're already voice actors themselves. And they're all in the US or Canada or the UK. So with that being said, pay them a living wage, like
Yeah.
think of it that's that sense. I always say shoot north of $25 an hour. That's
Yeah.
um
Do you have people, let's say I want to use my e-learning demo that I've never done anything with yet, and
yeah,
I just don't have time to market. Could I hire someone through your setup to help me market
absolutely.
that e-learning?
100%. 100%. Yep.
See, that's interesting because the older I get, the lazier I am about doing new things. I
Right.
just like, I'm fine. I don't fuck it, I'm fine. But if someone else, if I can pay somebody to do it and
Yeah.
actually reap the benefits of just doing the work, that'd be awesome. I for one, I'm going to look into this.
Yeah, and that's what we do. I mean, if you've got marketing needs, if you've got, audiobook editing needs or whatever, I mean, I realize you don't because, you're you. And you hand it off to the publishers and
Yeah.
they bless it, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who are brand new to the audiobook world or who are, less established, haven't been doing it quite as long as you have and don't have 8 bazillion books under their belt. I'm going to do the counting for you. It's 8 bazillion, by the way.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But yeah, so they are going those people may need somebody to do some prep work for them or some audio editing, some proofing, things like that. So, or if you just need someone to do some social media marketing for you, because a lot of people are like, I know I have to have social media on here, but I don't know what I'm doing. And we've got people who can help you with that. Maybe you need somebody to look at your website and go, I need to update my website. I need to rewrite the copy on my website because it's been 5 years and it's no longer relevant and no longer valid. And like Don and I were just talking about this before the session. He was like, some people's bios are a little bit dated. That would be me.
Yeah.
We have people who can help you write bios for your website and who can help you do SEO optimization. If you're on the online casting sites, V123 or Bidalgo or wherever, right? And you need somebody who can optimize your online casting profile. Well, those things take a long time to get them done and get them done right. And we got people who will take that off your plate for you, So yeah, so there's nothing it's pretty again, everything that you need to do for your voiceover business in order to get it up, running, flowing and going. We got somebody.
This is a wonderful idea that you have, and I definitely think people should look at. Can we put up, Donnie? Can you put up the website?
Oh yeah.
VA for VO.
First time.
This is brilliant because I mean this is stuff people need, and here you are. You're absolutely filling a need, and we just have to get the word out that you're doing it.
Yeah, and I love that.
Here we are.
With
our audience of millions. Just, a lot of people watch us after the fact.
Well, I mean, we've got some people who've been here, which is amazing. So this has been really fun to see people who are live
the
with
hot
us.
ticket guy. People always want to listen to Don, even though he didn't say very much today.
So the question is, did I get that? Is that the right?
That is us.
Okay.
That is us.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. And you said that there's an alternate view.
Yeah, if people screw it up and say VO for VA, it will also take you to VA for VO. So I try to think about, and I think the entire process with VA for VO in general is we came up with the courses and everything because we learned through our own mistakes. Having hired people and having been hired, we were like, here's all the things where we wish someone had told us this ahead of time. And before we went and hired someone or before we became hired by someone. So let's go ahead and make these courses to make things kind of seamless and easier for people. So when they go to hire someone, they can kind of hit the ground running.
Here's a question from Dave here, which I think you covered a little bit, but let's go into it again. How do you get my current editor? Let's get whoever you're working with, they want to get that person on your roster.
Yeah, so just go to vaforvo.com and he can sign up that way. So yeah, that would be amazing to get your current editor. That would be amazing. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, we love to have new people, new blood, and have people come in and join us. And we're always connecting people any which way that we can. That's a big thing for us, is that we want people on either side of the coin to get a good return on investment.
Yeah,
we're always spending money on stuff, right?
And in our business, having someone who knows what you don't to help you is, Lisa, like Don is a great help to me always. But Lisa Ware, Lisa?
I do not. No.
She's fantastic. She helped Joanna and I administratively with the New England Narrator Retreat, which had a whole lot of things that's just not our forte. I'm good at the agenda, but she helped set up the like, what coach do you want? What food can you not have? And she's also working with she's helped me with my new website, all the stuff. And she and I worked out deals, and she's my go-to, and she's my right hand. I don't send editing stuff to her.
Sure.
That's not her. Actually, now I found out that is her thing, but I generally don't need it. But someone like that is exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
And I think it's a great idea. And
again, it can be somebody you can have all the time. Do you hire Lisa to do things like kind of on a project to project, or do you give her stuff like every single week? Do you have her kind of on retainer?
No, it's just like, hey, would you mind? We need to make a change in the website. Usually when I have a workshop, I do the agenda, then I ask her and I ask her and Joanna, what do we need? What didn't I put in here? Because I'm good at the agenda and who's doing what. Like Don's going to work on this while that's happening. Someone work on that. I'm great at that stuff.
Right.
But how to get people signed into the right room, how to make sure I've got their right email, how to send out a boatload of emails to people to set all that stuff up. I'm not good at any of that stuff.
Right.
And I'm not good at, and Lisa, for example, like for the New England Narrator Retreat, and this will be someone that she's my assistant, and I take care of her. But the thing is, she set up like this group of 13 people is going to work with Johnny, while this 13 people are going to work with Joel Frumkin. This will work with Paul Rubin, etc. She also was able to put together the list for the place she went to, who has food allergies and food issues. So
right.
And I didn't, she made the Google form, whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
Which is just like, it's algebraic shit to me. I have no idea what I'm doing.
But it's those little things that you may not be thinking about. There's so many things that come to running a business, and especially when you start getting into event planning and things like that, that it just gets to be too much, and it just gets to be way too much. And so if you can have somebody who can take it off your plate, make it easier for you, like give you a little bit of ease, that's what it's about. And we just kind of found, we had people who were coming to us because we were already doing these things for other people. And we were like, you know what, let's just start a business. I can't believe no one has started a business for this. So
Here to you, that's a great idea. And I'm glad that you're here to share it with us, because I think it's a great idea. I definitely think I could use somebody to help me with the students, because Lisa's too busy to do all that stuff. But it'd be great to have someone specifically for that, and maybe they can come by and clean the house. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I tell people all the time. Like, don't think of outsourcing just as, hiring, people to do things for your business.
Yeah.
Well, cleaning your house, walking your dog, doing things that, like that just take up time in your life I had a house cleaner for a number of years, especially when I lived in Portugal. I haven't had one here, but I had one in Portugal, and she's a dear friend, and man, that house became hers, not mine, because she kept it pristine. God bless her for it. Because I didn't have to worry about it.
Put your drink on the table and just clean
it. 100%. She was like, we got to the point after 3 years, and she was like, what are you doing? What did you do to this? And I'm like, sorry. But outsourcing is making your life easier professionally, personally, whatever, like if you're hiring somebody to do, meal prep for you, or you're hiring someone to do, like your personal trainer is outsourcing it, because they're making sure you're getting stuff done.
Yeah.
It's whatever you got to do to stay in that zone of genius and be your most productive, efficient self. I need all the help I can get with that.
Well, this has been great. I'm so glad you're able to join us.
I'm so glad you let me come on. This is great.
Yeah. And I want to give everybody my love in Mavo in the next week or two. Remember, you guys, there's still some seats and tickets available for Mavo if you want to go.
MidAtlanticVoiceover.com, I believe, is the website. So and it's going on in 10 days.
Yeah, and you're in DC near Dulles, so it's a nice, nice hotel. It's really it's a fine time.
It's fun.
And Don, what do you got coming up?
I'm always. We've got to make sure that you're checking out on the VOJumpstart.com site. We've got a bundle with Heller McCann and Baarns here doing a bunch of cool stuff for learning and growing your VO and primarily your audiobook business here. Be sure you're checking that out. And of course, I'm also working on making sure that I never have it's like I've already figured out how to prevent the tech issue that we just had. Figured out why in the software it happened. So I'll be fixing that this next week. And here's the great thing. No matter how much you know about a business, and you'll find people that are like Johnny and that are so focused in an area and become an expert. They all need help because there's 400 other things that we can't do. And I'm the same with everything else. I'm not going to put brakes on my car anymore. That was a young man's game or a young lady's game to put brakes on a car. It's not worth the time or the effort to do it today. And so many things should be outsourced. And it's really a great reminder that there's somebody focused in this business, starting with the point of view of voiceover and audiobooks, and it's a great thing you're doing there. So Johnny, anything you have coming up this next couple of weeks that we need to know about?
Nothing coming up for sure. I've talked to Paul Rubin. We might do a pre-Christmas New York City audiobook workshop at Open Jar Studios. Got to set that up. We've done a couple this year. It's been great. We may do one more before the year's out. The only thing coming up is I'm looking and doing a abbreviated Splendiferous workshop on March 4th because the Audio Awards start at like 4 o'clock. So if we did, it'd be like 10 to 2. So you have a couple hours there to gussy up for the Audies. So that I'm looking into that. And of course, I put in the notice to have the Naughties party, which is going to be at Connolly's, as it always is every year. So I'm waiting to hear back from them, and I'll let y'all know. Follow me on Facebook. By the way, you guys who have workshopped with me, been to places, done things, or even just watch this show, go ahead and see if you can join the Johnny Heller Workshop Alumni Group. It's how I stay in touch with everybody. Don's there, how we stay in touch and tell you about these things and things coming up. Facebook and social media in general is a horrific, horrible thing, but it is a good way to stay in touch.
Yeah.
So if you want to know, and in that group, unlike my social pages, there's no politics allowed. So I don't, so you can go ahead and you can go ahead and join my group and still be a fascist.
All right. And of course, we're super excited you're here. Be sure to like, subscribe, share this with a bunch of your friends. And of course, we'll see you next week. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the wires. Have a great day.
Bye-bye, all.
Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.
Thank you. That was fantastic.